Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you guys? Just a minute, बस 1 मिनट में start कर रहे हैं. Just checking अगर मैंने PDF शेयर किया आप लोगों के साथ या नहीं. Okay, so I think I have. You guys can download the PDF from the link in description. अच्छा, आज की stream is going to be a short stream, and tomorrow inshallah there will be another mock. Same time, 7 p.m. 7:15 p.m. अच्छा, just a second. Okay, great. All right, what to revise for P2 IGCSE? Solve past papers, solve O-level math paper 1s. You'll have an idea कि क्या IGCSE paper 1 में frequently topics test होते हैं. And yeah, just go over all your notes, okay? Not a specific topic, just go over all your notes, ideally. Because yes, there are some topics that are tested more frequently in a certain paper, but that doesn't mean that no other topic can be tested. ठीक है, कोई भी topic किसी paper में आ सकता है, simple as that. Okay, so let's start. So basically, we're doing paper 1 trigonometry. Okay, this is non-calculator trigonometry, and it's something that, to be honest, is not tested very often, but it's part of the syllabus. Okay, it's something that's not tested very often, but it's part of the syllabus, so we have to do it. You never know, this may be tested this year. So let's start. Before I start, I'd really appreciate if you guys like the stream and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Can I please increase the voice level? I think it's fine. What about the rest of you? Is anyone else? Does anyone else also has a problem with the voice? I think it's fine. Okay, so अब hopefully थोड़ा बेहतर हो गया होगा. Sir, what to do on last day? Last day में आपने सिर्फ relax करना है. ठीक है, last day. Yes, there will be inshallah another mock. The mock will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Same time, same place, inshallah. Okay, so we are. Acha, so this is basically trigonometry and this is non-calculator. Okay, let's write down today's date. It's the 29th of April. Okay, so there are a few concepts of trigonometry that we have in paper 1. Okay, so non-calculator. अच्छा, सबसे पहले है हमारे पास complementary angle identities. Okay. Now, what are complementary angles? Complementary angles are basically angles that add up to 90 degrees. That's what complementary angles are. ठीक है? ये याद रखो कि complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are basically angles that add up to 180 degrees. ठीक है? So, a shortcut, an easy way to remember this would be कि letters में पहले C आता है, तो numbers में पहले 90 आता है, so C is equals to 90, then S, and then you have 180, so C is for 90, S is for 180. So complementary angle identity क्या होती है? वो basically होती है that if you have, let's say, sine of 90 minus theta, that's equal to cos theta. So that's identity number one. ठीक है, इसकी बहुत आसान है ये, इसके applications. It's very easy. You might be seeing this for the first time, and I don't blame you because it's not something, like I said initially, that's tested very often. अच्छा, इग्नोर ना करें तो बेटा अपना सवाल दोबारा भेज दिया करें बजाय इसके कि आप ये भेजें. मुझे नहीं पता आपका क्या सवाल था, so just send it again. So this basically means that if, let's say, you have sine 30, this is for both O-levels and IGCSE. This would be equal to cos 60. Okay, you can use your calculator, work it out. So please answer this. I wanted to ask radian. No, radian is not part of math. Okay, it's not part of math. It is part of AdMaths, but it's not part of math. So sine 30 is equals to cos 60, or let's suppose you have cos 70. What's that going to be equal to? That's going to be equal to sine 20. Okay. Yes, O-level students are also supposed to memorize trigonometric values for P1 to be on the safe side. Okay, there's not a lot of clarity, so I've suggested my students to memorize it just to be on the safe side. अच्छा, once again बेटा, बजाय इसके ये बोलने के कि मैं आपको इग्नोर करूँ, आप अपना सवाल दोबारा टाइप कर दें ताकि मुझे ढूंढना ना पड़े where exactly your question is. Okay, so sine 20 is equal to what? Is equal to cos 70. So these are basically examples of complementary angle identities. Okay, so you can use your calculator and see that they will add up to, they will basically give you the same answer. Acha, what's that? Please make a compiled PDF of the hardest question. Now is not the time to do that. Okay, now is not the time to solve hard questions. That time is gone now. Okay, acha, after that we have supplementary angle identities. Now, how does that work? Let's have a look. So aren't values given? No, they're not. It's for O-level students, it's best that you guys memorize these values. So AS online mock, inshallah, at 7 p.m. Okay. Now, suppose you have sine of 180 minus theta. That's basically equal to sine theta. Okay. And then if you have cos of 180 minus theta, that's basically equal to minus cos theta. Okay, so this is the identity. Let's do a few examples. And then we'll see what are the applications of these identities. So a few examples would be that S angle is 180. That means, so C is short for complementary, S is short for supplementary. So complementary, remember, is 90. S, remember, is for supplementary, which is equal to 180. Now, suppose that you have sine 120. Now, sine 120 will be the same in value as sine 60. Use your calculator, you'll figure out that they're basically both the same. Paper 2 is tomorrow. Any last minute tips? Just go over your notes, make sure you get a good night's sleep. Suppose you have sine 30. Sine 30 will be equal to what? Sine 30 will be equal to sine 150 degrees. Okay? Just a second here, I need to put my phone on silent. Okay, so we'll do some past paper questions, so you'll see how this works. Okay, we'll do some past paper questions, so you'll see exactly how this works. Achha, for example, if let's say you have cos 120, so this will be equal to minus cos 60. If let's say you have cos 30, this will be equal to minus cos 150. Okay, so one's positive and the other is negative. Yes, there will be a live past. Achha, okay, for P1 trigonometry, let's see if I find the time to do it. I really want to do it. Let's hope I find the time to keep a mock. Okay. Now, let's do some past paper questions to show you guys how this is tested. Okay. So, for example, here's a question. The question says, it is given that, now these are some old questions. I told you guys this is not something that's tested very often, but it is tested. It is part of the syllabus. So, answer, I am getting 55. Concepts are clear, but silly mistakes. So just slow down. Just watch out what errors you're making and just try not to repeat them. It's really that simple. Now, cos 150. Cos 150 will be equal to what? Cos 150 will be equal to minus cos 30. So that means cos 150 will be equal to minus times of 0.866. Okay, so the question wanted us to write down the value of cos 150. That's equal to minus times of 0.866. What's the identity that we're using over here? We're using the identity that cos of 180 minus theta, okay, which is equal to minus cos theta. Okay, then you have cos 60. So what's cos 60 going to be equal to? Cos 60 can be written as sine 30. Why? Because what's the complementary angle of 60? That's 30. So what is sine 30? What's the identity that we're using over here? The identity that we're using over here is cos 90 minus theta is equal to sine theta. So cos 90 minus 30 is equals to sine 30, which we already know is equal to 0.5. So this is equal to 0.5. There you go. Okay, now the question says triangle has sides of length 6 centimeter and 5 centimeter, and the angle between the two sides is 150 degrees. So that means we're looking at a triangle that kind of looks like this, something like this. Okay, so this is 150 degrees. This is 6, this is 5. And what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to find out the area. So how do we find out the area of a triangle? We know that area of a triangle is basically equal to half into A into B into sine C. So we know that one length is 6. So we can do half times 6 times 5 times sine of 150. Now the question is, where do I get sine 150 from? How do I get the value of sine 150? Now notice that in the table, we're not given the value of sine 150, but we are given the value of sine 30. Okay? So sine 30 is basically the same as sine 150. So half into 6 into 5 into sine 30. So sine 30 is the same, is equal to 0.5. So that means half into 6 into 5 into 0.5. Okay? So let's work this out. So 6 into 5 is 30. 30 divided by 2 is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So 7.5 is the answer. Acha, what's that? Sorry to ask, what is the paper? The paper is, for maths, is 100 marks. 100 marks each. 100 marks paper 1, 100 marks paper 2. Okay, so that was one question. Let's do some more questions. Acha, let's skip this one. Let's do this. Sir, can you do a stream for non-calc trick for add maths? A lot of students have asked. Yeah, so as soon as I'm done with math exams, I'll start focusing on add maths, inshallah. Okay. In the diagram, BCD is a straight line. BC is equals to 5 centimeter, AB is equals to 12 centimeter, and AC is equals to 13 centimeter. Angle ABC is equals to 90 degrees, and we're supposed to find out tan of BAC. So tan of BAC, okay, so what's tan is equals to? Tan is equals to opposite upon adjacent. Okay, that's what tan is equals to. What now? BAC means we're talking about this angle. What's the opposite side? The opposite side is 5. What's the adjacent side? The adjacent side is 12. So there you go. The answer is simply 5 upon 12. अच्छा पहले ये होता था कि answer space ना page के end में दिया हुआ होता था. Okay, now. Then the question says cos of ACD. So cos ACD is basically this angle. Now there's no way we can find out this angle, but what we can do is we can find out this angle. Okay? So if let's say we find out cos theta, so cos theta is equals to adjacent, which is 5, over hypotenuse, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 13. Okay? But the question doesn't want that. The question wants ACD. So technically, what is ACD? If you think about it, ACD is basically 180 minus theta. Okay, so what the question wants is not cos theta. The question wants cos of 180 minus theta. Now, we know from prior knowledge that cos of 180, no, not 180 minus 5 upon 13. Please don't make that mistake. Because 5 upon 13 is not the angle. Okay, 5 upon 13 is not the angle, so please don't make that mistake. Cos of 180 minus theta is basically equal to minus cos theta. Okay, we just learned that. Cos of one, बेटा गूगल कर लो, ठीक है? गूगल कर लो, पता चल जाएगा कि कितने आपके planes of symmetry होते हैं, ठीक है? So we worked out minus cos theta. We worked out cos theta, which is 5 upon 13. All you have to do now is simply multiply it by minus. Okay, so cos of 180 minus theta, which is basically cos of ACD. Okay, so ACD is the obtuse angle, and remember the obtuse angle is negative. So 5 upon 13. But if the ratio of acute angle is positive, then the ratio of the obtuse angle will be negative. Yes, we will inshallah do another live mock, which will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Okay, I'll explain part B again. So remember the identity that we're using over here. The identity is cos 180 minus theta is equals to minus cos theta. Okay. So what we have done is we found out cos theta, but the question wants cos of ACD, meaning that's basically 180 minus theta. Now, how do we figure that out? If we know the cos of the acute angle and you want to find out the ratio, the cos ratio of the obtuse angle, just add a minus sign with the ratio of the acute angle. Simple as that. Okay? Why? Because the rule is this. कि अगर cos 60 की value half है, you can use your calculator. So 60 is the acute angle. That means the value of cos 120, which is the obtuse angle, will basically be equal to minus 1 upon 2. Why not cos 90 minus theta? Because this is a straight line. Okay, and if this is a straight line, that means this would be 180 degrees. And if this is theta, this would be 180 minus theta. Okay, let's do some more questions. Okay, let's do this. Using as much information as in the table as necessary, evaluate 2 sine 150. Okay, so how will I evaluate 2 sine 150? Remember sine 150, okay, in sine, the sign remains the same. In cos, the sign changes. Okay, so if one is positive, the other will be negative. So sine 150 is basically going to be the same as sine 30. Now what's sine 30? Sine 30 is 0.5 to 2 into 0.5. That's simply equal to 1. Okay? Acha. Let's do this. This is a good question. In triangle ABC is equals to 90 degrees, AB is equals to 3x, BC is equals to x plus 1, and AC is equals to 3x plus 1. Form an equation in x and show that this is what it reduces to. So that means x plus 1 the whole thing squared plus 3x the whole thing squared is equal to 3x plus 1 the whole thing squared. So x square plus 2x plus 1 plus 9x square is equals to 9x square plus 6x plus 1. So how is sine 150 same as sine 30? But that's the identity. Okay, I think you joined late. Probably missed that part, but this is the identity that sine 180 minus theta is equals to sine theta. Okay, so sine 120 की जो value होगी वही sine of the supplementary angle of 120 उसकी value होगी. So whatever value is of sine 30, sine 150 will have the same value. Why? Because 150 is the supplementary angle of 30. Okay, so that's an identity. It's a rule that you have to memorize. Acha, the values that you're supposed to memorize, I'll let you know. The values that you're supposed to memorize, I'll let you guys know. Now, 9x square and 9x square cancels. 1 and 1 cancels. Move all the terms to the left-hand side. So you have x square plus 2x. It's something that's not tested very often, but it's still part of the syllabus. Okay. So x square minus 4x is equals to 0. Yes, obviously you need to memorize these identities for O levels also, and there you go. Then the question says find the value of x. So we can simply take x common, x minus 4 equals to 0. That means x is equals to 0 or x is equals to 4. So there you go. X equals to 0, x equals to 4. And obviously the value that we're going to consider is 4. Now if x is 4, that means this is 5. 3 times 4, that's equal to 12. 3 times 4, that's 12. 12 plus 1 is equals to 13. So that means the triangle that we're looking at basically looks like this. Okay, now let me repeat. This is not something that's tested very often, but it's something that's part of the syllabus. Okay, kind of like symmetry. Symmetry is also not something that's tested very often, but it's part of the syllabus. So we have 12, we have 5, and we have 13. Acha. What do we want? This is A, this is B, and this is part of the syllabus. Okay, so reason why you're probably not taught this is because, like I said earlier, it's not something that's tested very often. Okay, now what does the question says? The question says that BCD is a straight line. State the numerical value of cos of DCA. So once again, we're supposed to find out the cos of the obtuse angle. So how about we find out the cos ratio of the acute angle, meaning we find out cos theta, and then we use that to find cos of 180 minus theta. So what's cos theta going to be equal to? Cos theta will be equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is 5, the hypotenuse is 13. What we're supposed to find out is basically cos of 180 minus theta. So what's that equal to? That's equal to minus cos theta. So what's that equal to? That is equal to minus 5 upon 13. There you go. अच्छा बेटा बेरिंग के आगे पीछे भी कुछ बोल दो. How am I supposed to figure it out what you're saying? So minus 5 upon 13 is the correct answer. Okay? Acha. So solve this question. I'll give you guys a few minutes. Solve this question. Can you explain bearing and coordinate geometry after this? Will we practice bearing questions? No, I've already done a stream on bearing. So not something I'm going to do again. I'll probably do something else. डर लग रहा है. डर तो बेटा बिल्कुल लगना चाहिए. Sir, I know it's a different topic, but I would request you to make a video on multiplying monomials with any polynomials. Okay. Is BD 26? Let's see if it is 26. So, how will we work out BD? So, BD is the hypotenuse side. So, we are given the opposite side. Okay. So, we need a relevant trigonometric ratio. So, let's see if we can use sine. So, sine theta is equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Now, do we have sine theta? Yes, we do. We're given sine theta is equals to 5 upon 13. Now all we have to do is cross multiply and we'll get the answer. So 5 ones are, 5 twos are, cross multiply. So BD is equals to 13 times 2, which is equal to 26. No, there is no O-level mock. The mock is for AS level. O-level ka mock inshallah kal hoga. Achha, now before I move on, I would like to remind you guys that there are some values that you're supposed to memorize. Okay, so there are some values which you are supposed to memorize. Now, what are those values? I will tell you in a minute. Okay, and this is not just for IGCSE students. It's best that O-level students also memorize them. Okay, and I've made a video on it. There's a trick which you can use to memorize them. I've made a video on it. You guys can check it out. Okay, just write non-calculated trigonometry. You will see what the trick is. Simple. So let me find the table. Can't get table. Just a minute. And by the way, you guys can download these notes. They're on my website, mathleadbysart.com. खैर, so कहीं मैंने लिखी थी वो values, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा मैंने कहाँ लिखी हैं. Just a minute. Yeah. So this is part of maths and it's also part of. Acha, just a second. Just a minute. Before you guys start freaking out. These values you're supposed to memorize. Okay, not just for O-level students, not just for IGCSE, O-level students should also memorize these values. ठीक है? Okay. क्या हाल है Talha? Good to see you here. Sir, I just bought. I appreciate that. Acha. Will you conduct a non-calculator mock too? Yes, I did conduct a non-calculator mock yesterday. I will conduct another one, inshallah, day after tomorrow. Okay? Now, you're supposed to memorize all these values. I've made a video on it in which I've explained this little trick which you can use. And that way you won't have to actually sit down and memorize all the values. You can just do it. I mean, you can just figure it out there and then. Okay? Now, so there are some questions related to this, which I'm going to solve. And you will find some questions in the February-March paper, and you'll find some questions in the specimen paper as well. So for example, let's solve this question. So I'd like you guys to solve this without a calculator. Okay, I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. Try and solve this question without a calculator. We have AS Math P1 mock today. Okay, we have AS Math P1 mock today. Okay, not O-level math. O-level का इंशाल्लाह कल होगा. ठीक है, O-level IGCSE का mock इंशाल्लाह कल होगा. Yeah, this is in this worksheet. This is in this worksheet. नहीं बेटा शेरोज, I don't sell coffees. ठीक है, it doesn't concern you. So let's focus on what we're doing. हाँ, मुझे पता है कल केमिस्ट्री का पेपर है, इसलिए मैंने इतनी कोई इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रीम नहीं रखी और इसीलिए मैंने आज मॉक भी नहीं रखा. कल आई थिंक केमिस्ट्री का है भी मेन पेपर, राइट? इट्स अच्छा सादिया, आई हैव रेड योर मैसेज. नाउ प्लीज नो नीड टू स्पैम. ओके, यू सेड इट वंस, दैट्स इनफ. आई हैव रेड इट. नो नीड टू स्पैम नाउ. Sir, is the live stream recordings? Yeah, all the live stream recordings will be uploaded. I don't get more than 80 marks. What should I do? So better don't just look at your marks. Look at where you're losing marks. Okay, that's the problem. We just look at our marks and we don't really see where we're losing marks. Okay, so K is 4. All right, I'm going to solve this. Pay close attention. So what do you need in order to solve this question? And remember, this is to be done without a calculator. So you have the opposite side and you have the adjacent side. ठीक है? अच्छा, अब आप ये क्वेश्चन सिर्फ जब भी कर पाएंगे अगर आपको ये टेबल याद होगा. ठीक है? अच्छा, अगर आपको टेबल नहीं याद, here's what I would suggest. O-level and IGCSE students, okay, especially, in fact, both of you. In the non-calculator paper, I would suggest that you draw this using a pencil. Okay, draw this somewhere on the side using a pencil, okay, so that you don't forget. Now, what is tan 30 equal to? That tan 30 is equals to root 3 upon 3. Okay, tan 30 is equals to root 3 upon 3. Now, why am I interested in tan 30? Because the ratio that we will have to use is tan. Tan 30 is equals to opposite, which is k under root 3 upon 12. Now, what's tan 30 equal to without using a calculator? We just saw. Okay, remember, you're supposed to memorize these values. It's under root 3 upon 2. Okay, it's under root 3 upon 2. And, under root 3 upon 3. Yeah, under root 3 upon 3. So, under root 3 upon 3. And what's that equal to? That's equal to k under root 3. Okay, so what happens is under root 3 cancels and cross multiply. So you have 3k, which is equal to 12, which means k is equals to what? K is equals to 4. Okay, so these are the kind of questions you can expect in non-calculator trigonometry. There is another question also. Achha, this is for IGCSE only. Okay, so this is for in fact, no, this is Both of O levels and IGCSE can do it. This, however, is for IGCSE only. ठीक है, because trigonometric equations जो हैं इस तरह की ये सिर्फ IGCSE में हैं, they're not part of O levels. Okay. अच्छा, here. So now I'd like you guys to solve this question. I would like you guys to solve this question. So I got 181 out of 200 in school marks, so what grade should I expect? Depends on the threshold. A तो for sure आ जाएगा. I'm not too sure about A star. So school mark बेटा कोई standard थोड़ी होता है. हर school का अलग mark होता है. So I really can't say what the threshold is. AS Math P1 mark inshallah is going to be at 7:30. Not 7:30, 7. Okay, 7:15ish it will start inshallah. So when we take measurements from scale, for example, distances in paper, mostly your answers don't match. The reason why your answers don't match, that's a good question. The reason why your answers don't match is because when you print the paper, you don't print it to the actual scale. It's scaled down a little. Okay, so because it's scaled down a little, so what was actually meant to be 7 centimeter, for example, turns out to be maybe 6.8 centimeters. So that's why your answers don't match. So there's an option, although it's too late now, but there's an option that when you're printing, you set the scale to 100% so that you get the actual length as it was meant to. Okay, but it won't happen in the actual exam. In the actual exam, just use your scale and see what it's equal to and work it out like that. Anyway, so let's find out the value of x. So sine 30 is equals to opposite. So why are we using sine? Because we have to find out the opposite side, and the side that we have is the hypotenuse side. So opposite over hypotenuse, which is 14, what's sine 30 equal to? You should know that sine 30 is equals to 1 upon 2 is equals to x upon 14. This is one of those values that you're supposed to memorize. So that means x is equals to 7 centimeter. ठीक हो गया? अच्छा, चलें, solve this question. It's an easy 1 mark question. It's from O levels. Tell me what the answer is. Sir, question, when in P1 there is a fraction value at the end of the working, should we give the answer as... It's best to leave it in fraction. If you have a value which is in fraction form, it's best to leave it in fraction, because if you convert it into decimal and you get it wrong, and if this happens to be a 1 or 2 mark question, you lose marks. Anyway, even if it's not if it's a 1 mark question, you lose 1 mark. If it's a 2 mark question, you still lose 1 mark. So if you have an answer which is in fraction form, unless the question doesn't say so explicitly that you're supposed to write it a certain way, then don't do it. Sir, when I do yearlies, I usually forget how to solve the question after every paper. But iska to mere paas koi ilaaj nahi hai. 39, let's see if that's the case. So what's the rule here? The rule is sine of 180 minus theta is equals to sine theta. And remember, this is non-calculator. So we're given sine m is equals to 0.63, and we're given one value. Sorry, not sim. It's actually sine m. We're given one value of m to be equal to 141 degrees, and you want to find out the other value. So m would be equal to 180 minus 141, which is equal to 39 degrees. There you go. Okay. Why 180? But there is an identity which you have to memorize. I think you joined late. That's why you probably missed it. So this question also, I should mention that this is for IGCSE only. Okay. This is also for IGCSE only. This question, So this question can come in both O levels or IGCSE, although I've taken this from the IGCSE Feb March paper. But let's solve it. Let's see what this says. The quadrilateral ACDE is formed by two right angle triangles ABE and BCD. Are we supposed to do sketch questions using... Better read the instructions. You will find out what you're supposed to do. Okay. Now, we're supposed to show that CD is equals to 10 centimeter. How many marks? This is a 5 mark question. Okay. So let's see how we can solve this. CD. CD means this. Okay. Is there a way to find this directly? No. But what we can do is, if somehow I can find this length, then I can subtract this length from 17. I will get this length. Then I can use Pythagoras theorem to work this out. Okay. So let's start with that objective. Let's start with... let's try and find AB. So if we take this triangle into consideration, okay, if I take this triangle into consideration, so we have to find out the adjacent length, and we have the hypotenuse length. Yeah, this is from the February-March paper. That's correct. So cos 60 is equals to adjacent, which is AB, divided by the hypotenuse length, which is 18. Now, you're supposed to have the value of cos 60 memorized. Remember, cos 60 is equals to 1 upon 2. If you don't have this memorized, then you can refer to the notes. Now remember, everything that I've written in the notes, you're supposed to memorize. These identities, complementary angle identities, so I'll put a box around them. Memorize these. Okay. Again, let me mention that this is not something that's tested very often, but it is part of the syllabus, so you have to memorize them. Okay, so there are two supplementary angle identities, so these also you're supposed to memorize. Okay, and also look at the examples. Acha, and then this table is also something that you're supposed to memorize. Okay, and if refer to video for a simple trick. Okay, so I made a video on it. Let me see what that video is called. मैं उस video का screenshot यहाँ पे लगा देता हूँ. Just a second. Yeah. So the video is called Exact Trigonometric Values, No Calculator. Okay, so here's the video. You're supposed to have these memorized. Okay? Now, coming back to the question. So we can find out AB. So cos 60 is equals to AB upon 18. That means AB is equals to 9 centimeter. Okay, so if AB is 9 centimeter, what does that mean? That means this would be equal to 17 minus 9, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 8 centimeter. Okay, now, so what we have to find is basically CD. So the length that the triangle that we're going to consider is basically this triangle. Okay. Now, how will I use this triangle? This would be 8 square plus 6 square is equals to CD squared. So CD will be equal to 64 plus 36 inside the square root. So what's CD equal to? CD is equals to 10 centimeter. Okay. All right. Now, Achha, find the perimeter of the quadrilateral ACDE and give your answer in the form of P plus K under root Q. Okay. Now, first let's take a screenshot. In fact, wait a minute. Let me... Okay. So how many marks is this? This is a 4-mark question. So probably not a lot of working involved. Let's see. Sir, final practice before paper 2. What are your plans? IGCSE paper 2 or O-level math paper 2? Now, how do we find out the perimeter? So don't forget that we've worked out AB to be equal to 9 centimeter and we've worked out this to be equal to 8 centimeter and we've worked out this to be equal to कितना निकाला हमने इसको? We worked this out to be equal to 10 centimeter. Okay. Now, I think लोगों के पास बहुत time है आज. खैर. So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to find out the quadrilateral ACDE. उसका हमें perimeter चाहिए. Now, how many lengths do we have? We have to add this length, we have to add this length, we have to add this length. The only length that's missing is basically this length. So if somehow I'm able to figure out this length, that should do the job. So एक काम करते हैं. Let's consider this triangle and let's find out the opposite length. Okay. So sine 60 is equals to opposite, which is basically BE, over hypotenuse, which is equal to 18. Now, what's sine 60 equal to? Again, if you don't have this memorized, you're going to be in trouble. We need a stream on probability P2. Let me see if I can find the time to do that. वैसे I think अब नहीं मिलेगा time, but hopefully if probability is not tested in paper 2 IGCSE or paper 1 of IGCSE, I'll do it for the next paper. So under root 3 upon 2 is equals to BE upon 18. Now we can work this out. 2 ones are 9, 2 ones are 2, 2 nines are 18. So BE is equals to 9 under root 3. So that means this length, this entire length is basically equal to 9 under root 3. Okay. Now what we want is simply ED. So that would be equal to 9 under root 3 minus 6. Now you want the perimeter. So let's start adding up all the lengths. So 18. So that's this right here plus 17. So 18 plus 17. Then this length, which we worked out to be 10. So plus 10 plus the fourth length, which is basically 9 under root 3 minus 6. So plus 9 under root 3 minus 6. Now let's add them up. 18 plus 17, what's that equal to? That's equal to 17 plus 17 is 34. 34 plus 1 is 35. 35 plus 10, that's 45. 45 minus 6 is 39. So 39 plus 9 under root 3. There you go. Let me just double check. 18 minus 6 is 12. 12 plus 10 is 22. 22 plus 17 is 39. So there you go. 39 minus 9 under root 3 is the correct answer. Okay, Pythagorean, what do you mean Pythagorean? Yeah, we could have used Pythagoras as well, लेकिन Pythagoras अगर use करते हैं तो फिर उसकी वो prime factorization करनी पड़ती है. Yeah, you're right वैसे. You know, in hindsight, I could have used Pythagoras theorem also. But 18 squared, I doubt आप लोगों को याद होगा. But अगर याद है तो brilliant, you could have used Pythagoras theorem as well. So let's do a couple more questions because there's not much in this. So let's do a couple more questions to learn the concept well. There was a question 2010 का एक question था, which I remember was a nice question here. Okay, so solve this. I'll give you guys a few minutes, work this out. Acha, what's that? Sir, will the tan 5 upon 3, 13 question come in IGCSE extended? Yes, it can. It can. It can. I don't know which question you're categorically referring to, but it can. Sir, paper mein formula list hogi. Yes, there will be a formula list. Okay, there will be a formula list that you will be given. Sir, can you explain kindly, explain the question that was only for IGCSE? Okay, I'll do that. मैंने वैसे I've made a dedicated video on it. Let me see. IGCSE में मैंने अभी 3 videos डाली हैं. One for graphs, one for equations, and one in which I've solved past papers. So I would strongly encourage you to watch that. Let me see which video it is. So yeah, past papers solved, trig graphs and equations. Yeah. So I'll put a screenshot of it and I'll solve it also. Okay, I'll do it towards the end. Okay, so let me see if you guys have solved this. 34 centimeter. Let's see if that's correct. You understand this question? Okay, तो इसमें चिल्लाने की बात क्या है? अच्छा, sir, which video? मैंने अभी बताया ना? I'll put a screenshot of it. So in this video, I've basically solved. So this is for not this question, but what I'm about to say is for IGCSE students only. ठीक है, तो इस वीडियो में आप लोग देख सकते हैं मैंने कुछ पास पेपर क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किए हैं ऑफ IGCSE ग्राफ्स एंड इक्वेशंस. Okay, so refer to it if you're an IGCSE student and you want to revise trigonometric graphs and equations. Okay, so I repeat that this video is for IGCSE only. Okay, and you can see in which I've basically solved trig graphs and equations. Okay, so you should definitely refer to it. Okay, sir, first time you समझ आया, चलें बहुत अच्छी बात है. Okay, so AB, how will we work out AB? First of all, let's divide. Since it's an isosceles triangle, I can divide this into 2. Okay, which means this will be equal to 16. Now AB is what? AB is the hypotenuse side, and this is basically the adjacent side. So what can we use? We can use cos. So cos theta is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. So that means 16 over hypotenuse, which is equal to AB. Cos theta हमें already given है. That's basically 8 upon 17, which is equal to 16 upon AB. So 8 ones are 8, 8 twos are 16. Cross multiply. AB is equals to 17 times 2, which is equal to 34. Okay, now solve part B. बेटा ट्रिग इक्वेशंस पे मैंने वीडियो बनाई है IGCSE की. ठीक है, I've made a video on trig equations for IGCSE, so make sure to check it out. मैं काम करता हूँ, मैं भी उसको ना एक प्लेलिस्ट में डाल देता हूँ. सर मेंसुरेशन के मुश्किल सवाल आएंगे इन P2. बेटा मुझसे पूछा नहीं था उन्होंने पेपर बनाने से पहले. अगर मुझसे पूछा होता मैं तब भी नहीं बताता एक्चुअली. सो आई डोंट नो आएंगे या नहीं. आई एम नो वन टू कमेंट कि आएंगे या नहीं. आ सकते हैं, हु नोज़, क्या पता ना आए. कल कैम P2 है. बिल्कुल है. गुड लक. Okay, so area of triangle ABC. So area of triangle ABC can be worked out. So there are many ways to work this out. You can use half AB sine C. In fact, let's use that. So we work this to be 34. Now this is the situation that we are in now. This is 34, this is 32, and this is theta. So we can use half into 32 into 34 into sine theta. Now what's sine theta equal to? We can take from the question, that's 15 upon 17. So half into 32 into 34 into 15 over 17. Now what's this equal to? 17 ones are 17, 17 twos are 34. 2 and 2 cancel. 32 times 15, what's that equal to? Let's work this out. 32 times 10, 320 होगा. 32 times 5 जो है वो 320, 160 होगा. So 320 plus 160, so that's equal to 480. There you go. 480 centimeters square is the answer. Yes, O-level students should also memorize this table. Okay, so O-level students should also memorize this table. Okay, just to be on the safe side. Okay, just to be on the safe side. All right, now last question. One last question and we're done. Okay, so I'd like you guys to solve this, and after this we're done. Acha, sir, mostly in marking schemes, answers that we get in fractions are written in decimals even when the question doesn't specify. बेटा उसके आगे OE लिखा हुआ होता है. ठीक है हसन, नेक्स्ट टाइम आप देखेंगे ना मार्किंग स्कीम तो उसके आगे OE लिखा हुआ होगा. OE means that or equivalent. Simple. Sir, I have heard they have made P1 harder. बेटा कहाँ सुन लिया आपने? किससे सुन लिया आपने? एक तो ये I have heard या someone told me या my friend told me, ये आप लोग इन बातों पे कैसे आप यकीन कर लेते हैं? हाफ बेस इंटू हाइट बिल्कुल कर सकते थे. हाफ इंटू बेस इंटू हाइट से उससे हमें फिर हाइट निकालनी पड़ती. ठीक है, सो इफ़ यू वांटेड टू यू फिगर दैट आउट यू कुड डू दैट, बट हमारे पास क्योंकि जो है ना इन्फॉर्मेशन थी हमें वही यूज़ करना था, सो दैट्स व्हाई आई डिडंट डू दैट. ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक इक्वेशंस ओ लेवल्स में नहीं है. नहीं, ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक इक्वेशंस, ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक ग्राफ्स ओ लेवल्स में नहीं है, लेकिन इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस हैं, ओ लेवल्स में भी आ सकते हैं और IGCSE में भी आ सकते हैं. Okay, so anyone who has the answer of cos DAC? Yes or no? Cos DAC is basically this angle, okay, which will be equal to 180 minus A. Okay, now what's the rule? The rule is that cos of 180 minus A will be equal to minus cos A. Now, do we know the value of cos A? You can see from the question that the value of cos A is 4 upon 5. So that means the answer is minus 4 upon 5. There you go. Okay, so I repeat. The identity is that cos 180 minus A is equals to minus cos A. Okay, so this is 180 minus A. This is A. So instead of finding out cos 180 minus A, how about we find out cos A? And we don't have to do that actually. That's already given in the table. So you just change it to, just multiply it by minus and there you go. So then we have to calculate AC. So for AC, we can use sine rule. AC, yes, Simon, you gave the correct answer. Good job. So AC upon sine B is equal to 10 upon sine A. Okay, and here's the good news. That if I make AC the subject, so that would be equal to 10 upon sine A into sine B. Now we have sine A and sine B. Okay, so 10 divided by sine A, which you can see is 3 upon 5. So 10 over 3 upon 5 multiplied by sine B, which you can see is 24 upon 25. So into 24 upon 25. Okay. So 10 divided by 3 upon 5 means that it's going to be 10 into 5 upon 3 into 24 upon 25. So I've skipped a few steps. I hope you guys are not, you guys know what I've done. So 5 ones are 5, 5 fives are 25, 3 ones are 3, 3 eights are 24, 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10. 2 times 8 is what we're left with, which is basically equal to 16. Okay. A level की stream बेटा 7 PM पे start होगी, 7:15 PM के करीब start होगी. There is a mock, okay, and you guys are supposed to give the mock, and then we will discuss it. Okay, that's for A levels. O levels, inshallah, there will be a stream. There will be a mock tomorrow. So will you be doing another stream on mensuration P2? Yeah. For P2, I will definitely be doing. So, but not for P1 obviously, because we don't have time. Okay, so काफ़ी है आज के लिए. I wanted to keep today's stream nice and easy, and this is it. We'll keep it till here only. And tomorrow, inshallah, at 7 PM, there's a mock. I'll see if I can stream a topic also earlier in the day, अगर time मिला. So, but आज के लिए काफ़ी है. Okay, so keep studying, keep solving, keep going over the notes, keep solving past papers. And acha, what question? What question is that? Did you make a video for these identities? No, I explained them just now. You don't need a dedicated video. Okay, just look at the notes and memorize them. Sir, is your table for values to memorize in the PDF? I'll upload this PDF. Okay? मैं ये PDF upload कर देता हूँ. So let's keep it till here only. I'll see you guys inshallah in the next stream. So take care everyone. Allah Hafiz.